This week, I'm headed to Tennessee with my good buddy Aaron for the state's early muzzleloader season. Between the black bears, bucks, and new to self-filming bloopers,
I beat him here, I live a little closer.
There's hardly a dull moment. And later, we return to our home states to catch the best cold front of the year, which predictably gets mature bucks on their feet. So join us for this multi-state November whitetail hunt that brings us face to face with our favorite animal, big whitetail bucks.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
It's November 6th. I'm down here in Tennessee. I got down here like, I don't know, maybe 11:30 or so and run out. It's about noon right now. DJ's on his way down from Pennsylvania. I beat him here. I live a little closer. DJ's on his way down from Pennsylvania, but I beat him here. I live a little closer. So I got in here about 10:30. Packed my stuff up and then took a walk in. I just went real slow trying to find anything. I haven't passed much, but I've passed a couple rubs on this ridge. This is the first sit for me ever out of state. I've hunted public land back home, but I've never hunted public land in another state before. I've never been here before, never scouted, so we're gonna see how this goes.
As it turned out, it wouldn't take long at all for the first antler of the hunt to appear. The buck passed through quickly though, and never presented a clear shot opportunity. Moments into our trip, and a buck narrowly skirts through.
I haven't been here but 5 minutes and a pretty good looking 6-point. Just walked right past me. I never could get a clear shot at him. He came from over this way behind me. So he may pop back out. I rolled the can just to see if he would come check it out again, even though he just walked through here. I just can't believe that happened that quickly. It's like a nude.
The action cooled off into the evening as I finally arrived for the following morning's hunt. Little did I know that I had a pretty wild encounter waiting on me as well.
Well, that was probably the coolest start to a hunting trip I've ever had. We're down here in Tennessee this week for their muzzleloader season. It's Monday, November 7th, and the first thing we see is a black bear. I actually saw him about 5 minutes after I sat down, across the hillside right in front of me, but it was too dark to film, and I was hoping he might drop down in and then go right up out. That's exactly what he did. That is encouraging as far as kind of travel routes through here. We're basically in a spot where everything funnels down into this one area. I'm down in a little further than I wanted to be. It was kind of brushy up top, and in the dark I couldn't tell how well I could see into here, but considering the bear didn't seem to mind, I think we're in good shape. So it's a little rainy today. I'm hoping that's about over with. Regardless of what else happens today, that made my sit already.
As I sat back, reliving the encounter, suddenly a shot rang out. Aaron and I reconvened at the truck and set out to search for the deer. However, there was little sign to go on. After an hour of looking turned up no blood, we turned to a body search in the surrounding ravines, but again, came up empty.
Alright guys, it's the evening of November 7th. I am, it's like 2:30, 3 o'clock. I shot a buck this morning at 6:45, and I guess I couldn't get any of it on video. I put the rain cover on this big camera and then turned my GoPro on, and that didn't end up working out, so I didn't get the shot on film so you could see what happened, but I ended up catching him high above everything. He just hit the ground and laid there for a little bit, and I went up trying to put him down a little quicker, and he got up and ran off, and we looked and never could find him. And after a little bit of looking, I called a dog tracker, and the dog tracker, I explained the hit to him, and he said, you know, hey, I see this all the time, you hit the deer high. It's exactly what you're describing to me. So I guess that deer is out and he's running around just fine. Maybe we'll see him again in the next couple days, maybe not. I got 2 days left, so hopefully I can fill a tag at least. We'll see how it goes.
From here, things got a little more challenging. Having canvassed the area in hopes of stumbling upon Aaron's buck, we figured it was best to move to a new location, as we likely disturbed far more than we would have preferred to. The following day was spent putting on miles in search of sign in a new area, but after a full 12-hour hunt provided 0 deer sightings, I decided to try a location that I'd been eyeing on the map since the night I arrived.
I'm not real sure about my tree selection this morning. It's Wednesday, November 9th, and Aaron and I decided to split up once again. It's his last day here. I've got today and tomorrow. But, this was a spot that looked enticing on the map. There's all these fingers of this ridge that kind of all convene right here. But it's hard to find a spot where you can actually see all that. So I dropped down over a little bit, and all around this tree is turkey scratch. So, at the very least, I know this tree is dropping acorns, and if nothing else, maybe a doe walks in just to feed, and we can get a shot.
Before long, I could hear approaching footsteps. The exact scenario I envisioned in my head was playing out, except it wasn't a doe, or a deer at all. At just 40 yards, I was able to watch a salamander cubs root around for food in broad daylight. Not exactly the encounter I signed up for, but one that I didn't want to end nonetheless. They'd keep working closer, to the point that I had to flip my viewfinder around to be able to film them as they moved inside of 15 yards from me.
remember earlier how I said there was turkey scratch all around this tree? I kind of have a feeling it was the bears. They got 12, 13 yards, and I think the sow saw me moving the camera or something. If they were going to cross in front of me, I was just going to let them go, but if they would have got much closer, I was going to have to get their attention, because I was not messing with a mama and 3 cubs or 4 cubs. I thought there were 3, but then when they scooted away, I thought I saw a 4th one. It was hard to keep track. They were 30, 35 yards over there, and I was just trying to sit still and film them. I've never seen a bear while hunting outside of this trip. I'm at 6 while hunting and 2 while driving so far in the last 3 days. Cool encounter. Not sure if that has any indication on whether or not a deer might move through here, but that was pretty neat. They were hanging around for almost 30 minutes.
Despite an encounter I'll keep with me forever, the day ended without a deer sighting yet again. Aaron had to head back to Indiana for their firearms opener, and I spent a considerable part of the next day trying to find a location that would turn my luck around. I chose a spot a few hundred yards off the road in case I would take a buck, both to reduce the likelihood of a long drag, and the likelihood of a long drag meaning a bear would pay me a visit in hopes of an easy meal. The night, and therefore the trip, would come up empty. However, the decision to leave early the next morning was made for a reason. There was an incredible cold front on its way across the eastern US. Temperature drops of 20 degrees gave me confidence that I could get a chance at the Bladed 9 back home. As I was making my return trip, Aaron was back out for the Indiana firearms opener.
Alright, it's November 12th. I'm in Indiana this time. I'm hoping to bring you something here that we can kind of loop in with our Tennessee trip. I'm sure you can see it looks a little bit different. You know, we were down there in Tennessee, I was talking about how it was way too warm, and I was walking through spider webs and stuff, and today I'm covered in snow. It's about 7:45 or so. We have some really nice weather here for the gun opener. I've heard a few shots that are quite a ways away from me. But there's nothing that's come out of this river bottom or on this piece of public land yet. So I guess we're going to see.
As if out of nowhere, a shooter buck appears, moving right into Aaron's shooting lane.
Just missed you. I whiffed. Total whiff. I drifted left as soon as I pulled the trigger.
We just cannot catch a break this week. When I arrived home that night to hear Aaron's story, my only thought was that maybe the cold front having hit here at home would be enough to turn our luck around.
Man, what more could a bow hunter ask for? It's Sunday, November 13th. We're running the first first significant snow of the year, and it's actually the only Sunday in PA that you can archery hunt. And, you know, we've had a daytime high temperature drop of about 20 degrees. Temps were falling all day yesterday, got down to around 30 today, and I think it's supposed to warm back up a little bit, but it's not going to get a whole lot warmer than it is right now. And once again, I find myself down here in the bottom. It's just one of those spots where anytime you sit here, it could happen. So, gonna give it a try once again. I think the deer are gonna move with the temp drop and, you know, just the fact that we're approaching what is typically considered the peak of the rut. So, I think they'll move, just hopefully we're in the right spot to see it.
And move they would. Just several moments later, the bladed 9 appears.
I think there's still a chance he loops up the hill and comes back down on this hillside where we wanted them to go. I can't believe that. That was the bladed 9. And the worst part is, he walked right under the same stand that he walked under November 3rd of 2020. And I was maybe 80 yards above this stand. I just had a weird feeling that I should sit in that stand today. And I didn't listen. That's gonna haunt me for a while. I mean, I don't even know that there would have been a shot. He walked right at it. Probably went by it like 3 yards. That's unbelievable. Just about everything went wrong on my end too. Something with the camera here got a little bit loose. That is not the bladed 9. But I don't know why that just happened. That buck's just down there doing his thing. I mean, his tail wasn't tucked. It had nothing to do with the bladed 9 coming through. I kind of need him to get out of here, though, so I can fix this deal with the camera. I had to almost hold it with both hands to film him at all, so... Not that he went in a place where I could get great footage, but... made it more difficult to be able to get anything. And I was gonna have to try to stand and rotate and shoot to the right. He still went by at like 40, 45 yards probably, but I'll tell you what, it's good to see him again. Maybe he'll come back.
As the day wore on, I began to consider trying to fill a doe tag, as it had been nearly 9 hours since I saw the bladed 9. And then suddenly, he appears again. 100 yards out and moving further away, I decided to try a loud snort wheeze to try to turn him around.
I can't even remember if I got his antlers on film. I know I saw them well, and I didn't use binoculars, so I must have, but obviously that was the bladed 9 again. He came from... I thought I heard a grunt. Yep, here it comes. Always one step ahead. Always. I don't know what's all on film. I'll have to go back and look at it. But when he crossed this hillside, he was still 45, 50 yards away. So I snort wheezed at him. And he came right down the hill and got to like 26 yards looking right at me. I don't know. It would have been behind that tree right there. And, you know, he's looking for the buck that just challenged him and can't see it. And what I was hoping was, because he was kind of pushing around this fawn a little bit, I was hoping he was going to go back to where she was. Because if he did, it was going to be like 26 yards, you know? What this stand was hung for type of shot. But instead, he went back up the hill and I gave him a couple more vocalizations. He was looking, you know, but what do you do? That was amazing. This is the $10 Walmart grunt call. When I moved last year, I lost my good one. And I'm honestly really proud of the fact that to some degree I called him in. I don't know if that's why he came out of there when I was talking to the camera, and then all of a sudden I heard him grunt, which, getting to hear a 7.5-year-old PA warrior buck grunt like that was pretty cool in and of itself. But the snort wheeze most certainly called him down here into bow range. He was facing right at me, and this is a double set, so the other stand is right here. I couldn't shoot that way. I need him to come over here just a little bit further. And he didn't. But, you know, I think part of the problem we ran into, there was a spike. I think there still is a spike back there feeding behind me. And I think the bladed 9 thought he was the one making all the commotion. He didn't even run him off. He just kind of went over there and I think he realized the spike wasn't posturing, wasn't bristled up, wasn't anything, and just kind of started to leave him alone. I snort wheezed again. He looked down here. Didn't come in. I think that was the last thing I said to the camera before I heard the grunt. I don't know whether to come back down in here tomorrow now. I wasn't gonna, but he's in the area. Problem is, you know, this isn't the early rut. He might be a mile away chasing those tomorrow. Hard to say. That was unbelievable. I've had that buck within, let's just say within 50 yards, like 4 times, one of which I was muzzleloader running earlier this year. I've never been to full draw on him. We were really, really close.
So in the end, 6 days of hunting provided some of the absolute craziest encounters I've ever experienced. From black bears at close range, to the bladed 9 walking under a stand that I encountered him from 2 years prior, despite never seeing him walk that route in the 2 in-between years. To my first time effectively calling to him, and nearly closing the deal regardless. It was a wild week, but no venison was added to the freezer. As for Aaron, I continued to joke with him that the buck that he passed up in Indiana was a smart move, as he'll be an absolute stud this fall and he'll be able to redeem himself for the shot. We can only hope that dream comes true in the future. For now though, we move toward the end of archery season here in Pennsylvania and into rifle season, where we hope to still turn this season around. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.